over to the game. We're gonna go over here, and I'm gonna go and silence the music because yeah, here we are. Tonight's game, Vital Shell. This is a horde survival game developed and published by Marvin Wizard. From what I've played, I think I can describe it as like Brotato, but with PlayStation aesthetic to it and mechas. it's got quite a few mechas. So why don't we get in here? Why don't we get in the robot and try out some Vital Shell? Yeah, look, even the menus and everything, right? You got the rotating menus and everything, and the sort of gradient in the background, and the grids and everything, and the text that just feels superimposed. And yeah, doesn't that take you back? Doesn't it make you feel like you just started up a PlayStation game? You're about ready to kick back and relax for a few hours of Vital Shell. Yeah, I'm ready. Right, even got the spinny menu. Right, just pretend you're like playing Tomb Raider and you're in the pause menu. You're like looking over your inventory. You got the comic book, you got the pillar, right? You got the gears, you got the little mecha doll, the arcade machine, and of course the memory card. Memory card, and that's basically a PlayStation memory card and everything but name. You can even see they have Vital Shells scrolled on the little writable part there. Did anyone ever do that? Did everyone ever like have a memory card they were able to personalize that way? Just write some stuff on it, maybe throw a sticker or two. Yeah, OMG, I was just gonna say Tomb Raider, right? Okay. Well, since we're here for some mechas, why don't we go select Battle? So you start off with one character, but you unlock like 4 others as you go through the game. The OG memory cards, yes, nice. And I think the thing I like about these is that each mech kind of has sort of like a fantasy class feel to it, right? You have like the Koeing here, which feels a lot like the sword and board kind of warrior. And you have like Bloodfang, which is kind of like a dual-wielding rogue. You got Mirage here, kind of looks like a wizard. You got Sidewinder here, which is something like a ranger. Their pets and everything. And you got Meteor, you know. I got the scythe and everything. I think we'll start with Koeing here. And you also have like 5 worlds to go through. Like the mechs, you unlock these as you beat the previous stage. But yeah, let's do it. Let's get into a run and can show you like the real meat and potatoes of this game. So if you played Horde Survival, this is probably going to be very familiar, right? Yeah, you run around the screen, you go kill enemies with your weapon, and the weapon will auto-fire, so you don't need to worry about that. But this game will give you the ability to kind of manually aim it if that's like more your thing, right? It can be useful in some cases where maybe like there's a crowd in a certain direction or something, you can take them out that way. And like every good horde survival, you gotta run around and collect experience, and when you get enough for a level, you can pick between like 1 of 3 stats to level up. And the nice thing is that they do explain to you what it is, right? So you're not kind of just like grasping in the dark thinking, what does speed increase? You think it might be obvious, but it's nice to have that clarification anyway. I'm going to pick a critical strike. That's basically critical chance. Getting Rise of the Robots from the mechs. Oh yeah, and then you know, after each wave, you usually get to pick like another thing. So you know, after picking your stats from leveling up, they'll give you a variety of things you can pick from to sort of increase your firepower. In this case, after wave 1, we get to pick a weapon. Another gun. And I think I'm going to pick the Argent Lance. It's your standard rapid-fire pew-pew gun, right? Decent fire rate, decent range. It's got piercing on it. Even the music is early PS1. I know, right? honestly, I think they got like the aesthetic down pat, right? If I didn't know this was like a recent game, and someone came up to me and said, "Wow, have you seen this game they used to have on the PlayStation?" I like completely believe him. I totally believe this was on the PlayStation once. All right, now I can pick from max health, force damage, and regen rating. I do like how even though regen rating is a number, they put like in parentheses, like exactly what its effect is. So I'll recover 1 HP every 5 seconds if I were to pick that. I think I'll pick that. So yeah, now after wave 2, we get to pick a gem, and this is a gem that will you will attach to a weapon. It will increase its capabilities in a way. So the 3 I can pick from right now, I can choose to increase their potency, lifesteal, or damage. Lifesteal and damage do exactly what you think it does. Potency is a unique stat that affects each weapon differently. So, you know, for some weapons, potency might increase their piercing abilities, and for some other weapons, it might increase the chance that the weapon will double strike. And for some other weapons, it might like increase like how much burn damage they'll deal to enemies. So it's kind of an interesting way to kind of give each weapon variety without like sort of doing too much stat load. I remember that originally being a problem for Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, right? Was the elemental weapons, right? The burn, shock, acid weapons in that game. It used to have like different stats for everything, right? So you'd have like different upgrades for like, you know, the amount of burn stacks you deal to a person and how much damage those burn stacks would deal, which unfortunately had like the side effect of making the elemental weapons a lot weaker than they probably should be. So they eventually kind of condensed a lot of that together into a potency stat as well, incidentally. Which, you know, also let them kind of clean up the pool of stuff for anyone who might want to go for an elemental build. Just as well, because I do like having like a multi-element build in that game. Yeah, something fun about just like throwing out an electric weapon and an acid weapon, a fire weapon, all at the same time. Oh, and a cryo weapon as well. Oh yeah, we got potency over here. Yep. Since we leveled up a few times, you can pick between several extra stats. Yeah, agility is probably the one that might be slightly ambiguous, right? Because it says plus 10% dodge. And if it weren't for the description that says increased boost recharge speed, you probably think this was like a chance to avoid attacks entirely, but no. The chance to negate attacks entirely falls on the block stat. Ah, and we get to pick another gem. I think I will go for attack speed. Just keep on powering up the Argent Lance. Yeah, as you can see on top, the goal is to usually just survive 20 waves, right? It's kind of like Brotato in that sense, right? You survive 20 waves, and if you can kind of, you know, hit the time limit, you'll be able to rest and recuperate and upgrade your mech for the subsequent onslaughts. Yeah, like any good survival, there's a certain degree of risk reward you kind of have to go through to power yourself up a lot, right? Gotta really get in there because the experience isn't gonna collect itself. Oh, the nice thing is that, unlike Brotato, you will auto-collect experience at the end of a level. Although I think it's worth a lot less than if you would pick it up normally. So there is that. Yeah, since we've hit like wave 5 survive, now we get to pick a special attack. Which I think I'm gonna try to make something different here. Alright, fine, I'll just pick this. Omega Cannon. So now you'll see, like, below the HP bar and the boost bar. I didn't explain that right there, did I? But yeah, in addition to just like running around and shooting things, you also have the ability to boost, which lets you dash in a direction. And each character kind of has like different effects attached to it. So this one will create a shockwave around where they end up and kind of push enemies back and deal a little damage on top of it. And other robots will do different things. But yeah, there's also the special, right? That's dictated by the number of S circles that you can see below the boost bar there. That's like how many times I can use my special. And there are pickups that you can pick up to give you more uses, right? So you don't have just like the one. Yeah, Vampire Survivors, but with robots. Yeah, it's a lot like that. Ooh, okay. As you can see, we got different gems, right? It's not just like the little ones with the basic stat boost. They even tell you what tier it is. So we have the tier 3 Divinity Gem and the tier 2 Destruction Gem. I might actually go with that one, since it's tier 3. Spirit Bomb, that's Goku's move. It's a different kind of Spirit Bomb, though. This game's Spirit Bomb has like a dragon kind of rise up into the air and then crash down like a moment later. I guess you could call it like a legally distinct Spirit Bomb. But as you may expect, as the waves go on, you'll face off against tougher and tougher enemies with trickier attack patterns, and you'll probably encounter more of them as well. There's a lot more things to kind of keep track of as you're running around and killing things and picking up the gems they drop. I think they call them sparks in this game, actually. They're called sparks, but you know, it's the same purpose in the end, right? It's the experience stat that gets you the level ups that makes you stronger, so you can blast more things. Oh yeah, shell protocols. That's the last thing I haven't explained, but it's basically passive abilities, right? It's a passive ability. You can pick between a selection, whatever they offer up to you. I think I'm gonna go for Flurry. Critical strikes grant stacking attack speed buff, right? Just a strong get stronger kind of move. As long as you're getting in everyone's face, you'll be able to mess them up even better. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. Honestly, that's like what a lot of horde survival games want you to do, right? Obviously. I mean, sure, survival is in the name of the game, but I also want to make sure you can't just like hang out in the corner somewhere and survive that way. You want to truly attain new heights of power, you gotta get in there, get up close and personal, and only then will you be able to unlock your true potential, or something like that. You can see I'm pew-pewing a little faster. Pew-pewing a little faster. Go for armor. And I think I'll actually just do this, right? Just do that. So, once you put 4 gems onto a single weapon, you'll be able to get like a resonance effect on it. And that will depend on what color gems you put on it. So, for example, since I put 4 gems, each of a different color on the weapon, I get something called fragmentation, which turns my weapon into a spread shot. Which honestly, for this kind of gun, is pretty wild. It's pretty wild, right? Look at that. It's just a wider range of bullets just like mow everything down. Spread shots can get pretty absurd though, right? Because you get someone who's just like really good at getting up close and personal. They can like just deliver a full flurry of bullets, and and each one just like counts for its full damage. That means they can really just like vaporize enemies up close and personal, which is pretty wild sometimes, you know? Yeah, head in all guns a-blazing indeed. What you gotta do. Honestly, the Koeing is probably specially suited for this because it also has like a personal ability where armor and block will also increase its damage. So defense is a lot more viable for this mech at least. Right? I can pick block chance and it'll just passively increase its damage as well. It's good stuff. It's a good stuff. Oh, and now we can pick up a third weapon. It's a heavy weapon. Yeah, each weapon does have like a different, has different properties associated with it too. So some weapons are classified as light weapons, other weapons are classified as heavy weapons. And as you can see in the description, they also have like different damage types, which correspond with like the damage attributes that you can level up during the level up screen as well, right? But yeah, each weapon kind of has like its thing that they do. Some of them are well-rounded rapid fires. Some of them fire slow but are very strong. Some of them might not deal damage, but they might like burn enemies a lot. Some of them have the AoE. Some of them are like swarms of missiles. Yeah, a decent variety of things to kind of mess around with here. It's pretty nice. I feel like as long as you kind of coordinate to some extent, right? As long as you are able to get like, you know, one decent weapon from the gems and everything, you'll probably make it through okay. Now, even if it does get crazier and crazier, we're only halfway through right now. I saw Cannon Spike and I was like, Cammy? Not wrong, though. Not wrong. Could you imagine that? A weapon called Cannon Spike and it just, like, shoots out Cammy. Right? Cammy just, like, leaps out of it and just dive kicks you. Oh, I'm trying to think. Who should I give the purple gem to? I probably should give it to Cannon Spike, shouldn't I? Dive kick. I kind of missed that game. I remember when it first came out, people were kind of raving about it, right? What started out as a joke game kind of became, you know, this is actually a pretty decent one for kind of just like, you know, boiling a fun fighting game down to like, you know, spacing fundamentals. And then they rolled out like the edition, which added like Johnny Gat as a guest character, and they kind of didn't develop anymore after that. You know, pretty fairly featured game as it is, but yeah, it was a Cannon Drill follow-up. There you go. Oh, snap. We're getting all the Tier 3 stuffs now. Okay, I think I'm gonna throw this one the Hand of Justice. Get it, the fire damage. I feel like every Horde survival has something like this, right? They have that one wave that you can kind of use to farm experience like super quick. If you know what you're doing, I think wave 12 is this for this game, right? As long as you can kind of hunt down that little cluster of enemies that drops a ton of those experience crystals, right? You'll probably gain a decent number of levels from it. I like that music too. It's got that like sort of 2000s era drums and bass feel to it, right? And the kind of thing you'd probably hear at like a really trippy club. You know? The one that's just like filled with smoke and stuff all the time. Okay, let's try... actually... now let's go with Strike Reflex. I don't feel confident enough to not get hit for a long period of time for that other shell protocol. Just stick with the guaranteed thing, you know. It's always the thing with like those risk-reward kind of passes, right? In the hands of the right person, they can be absolutely deadly. Unfortunately, I am not the right person for that. So I probably would get hit often enough that I could not make use of the stacking speed buff at all. Very Ridge Racer. Yeah! It's Ridge Racer. Ridge Racer. I miss Ridge Racer. I wish Ridge Racer would come back. I'm almost certain like Unbounded was the last Ridge Racer title they had, and that, you know, that's it. That's Ridge Racer in like everything but name. And I imagine a lot of people are probably clamoring for like, you know, proper Ridge Racer, ass Ridge Racer, but alas. Honestly, I think there's like room in the market for a very traditional arcade style racer, you know? Like if Namco were to try to come back out with like a new Ridge Racer, you could probably get a pretty decent following out of it, you know? Although barring Ridge Racer, I wouldn't mind like another Rush game, you know? Give me like a Rush of some sort, or Cruisin'. Cruisin' would be pretty cool too, you know. Or Outrun. I mean, I'd even take Outrun. Although I feel like Outrun would probably only show up as like part of the Sonic Racing Crossworlds at this point, right? No way they do like a standalone Outrun. Yeah, getting all the big gems. But for the sake of showing off like different stuff, I'm gonna pick the red gem and slap it on here. Another Ridge Racer would be good. The OG one is so fun. I imagine there are probably like at least a not insignificant number of people out there that are probably like, Namco, please give us another Ridge Racer and my life will be yours. Me included, to be honest. Or, you know, if they don't do that, give us like Ridge Racer Remastered, I don't know. That would be fine too. They're doing like 1.5 billion Tales remasters. Apparently they can spare some room for Ridge Racer. Or, you know, maybe they don't do Ridge Racer. What about like a Klonoa Legacy Collection that gives us like the Klonoa GBA games? That would be pretty cool too. I know it's like a completely different thing, but still. Should I take armor explodes upon taking damage, deals force damage? Yeah, you know what? Let's get that. Since I need to be up close and personal anyway, might as well make any time to try to hurt me meaningful. I was playing the OG Ridge Racer last week. Oh, nice. And it's always fun to go back to an old game, right? Maybe your old comfort game, or you just want to remember what it was like back in the day. I know that feel. I'm actually going to be playing an old game very soon. As soon as I finish Marvel's Midnight Suns, the next game I play is going to be a callback. It's gonna be... I guess it would be retro now. I'm pretty sure this game would qualify as retro, because I think it first came out during aughts, which is 20 years ago. Yeah, I'm sorry to kind of deal that damage to you, I guess. The aughts were 20 years ago. You've forgotten how taxing it can be. Really? Yeah, I guess the old school games usually don't pull their punches. It's by design, right? Like, most of them were arcade games and they had to be challenging so they could get more money out of the players. Honestly, I'm wondering why I'm not just like firing like mega cannon everywhere. Just like getting so many special charges, it's not funny. Still can't drift in that game. I probably wouldn't be able to either. Drifting, unless like a car is specifically designed for it, that's something that I have a little bit of challenge doing even to this day. Alright, just gonna put this on the Hand of Justice and we'll get ourselves another resonance effect. Since I have 2 reds and 2 blues, this weapon will periodically release fireballs. And you don't even have to be at full health to do so. Whoa. You know the funniest thing about this game is that the type of upgrade you get after each wave is predetermined, so you're always going to get a new weapon after wave 1, you're always going to get a special after wave 5, and you know, other things like your gems and your shell protocols and your other weapon will come in very specific waves, so you're always going to have yourself like a complete build, as it were, right? You're always going to have yourself 3 weapons that are going to be fully decked out with gems, you're always going to have 4 shell protocols, you're always going to have the special. So, you know, I guess at least in that sense, you're not going to feel like you got screwed over in that way. Granted, the pool for all those specific things is a lot, so you know, maybe you won't get the specific thing in the specific pool you're after, but you'll at least have all your slots filled, right? Honestly, I can like at least see the advantage of that, right? This game is very much like, you know, a lot more controlled, a bit more guided sort of horde survival experience, but on the other hand, you can always feel like you're at least something of a god by the end, right? You're just like being able to fling out projectiles with reckless abandon. You probably like got a decent amount of survivability, a decent enough mix of abilities that you can kind of carve through the enemy forces pretty decently, right? It's pretty nice like that. I think this is actually like the last wave before wave 20. This is the last regular wave too, so as you might expect, each run ends with you battling a boss. Right? You gotta go fight the boss at the end. Alright, for 2 blues and 2 purples, we get critical strikes, freeze enemies, and deal additional elemental damage. So here we go. A little short cutscene, right? A little FMV. Corrupt Bloodfang. So yeah, it's a boss battle, right? And you're fighting against a corrupt version of one of the other mechs. So initially you only start out with the Koeing, and you have to unlock the other ones by sort of defeating them in subsequent stages. Right, so you'll unlock Bloodfang next, and then after that you'll get Mirage in the next stage, and then Sidewinder in the next stage, and then finally Meteor to kind of about what you expect, right? Avoid attacks, just blast it into the face until you empty their life bar. Make sure you do that before they empty yours. And once you defeat them, it's over! You did it! Victory! And you get a little score summary screen as well, right? Your usual stat screen, so you can check out your damage recap, right? See how much damage all of your damage sources did. You can check out your score too. Despite everything, the score is actually like a lot simpler than you think it is. They explained it on the Steam discussion forums, but it's basically like a ratio of sparks you pick up and what's dropped. So as long as you're like running around and picking up everything, you'll get yourself a pretty good score, right? As you can see here, I got rank S. That does, yeah, you get rank 2, right? And it goes from all the ranks you expect, from all the way from F to S. So, you know, runs the gamut. Yeah, you can see your final stats as well. So you can see a picture of your shell, right, all decked out in their gear, and you know, the extra stuff that you're able to get as well. But yeah, there we go. Stage 1 is done. So this is the other thing that happens after each run. You'll get experience of this things called devotions, and they're basically just like stat boosts, right? You'll as you level up each devotion, you'll get like a little bit of an additional stat that will apply to every character, right? There's 5 tracks to go on, so you pick a track to go on, right? Level that up, and once you're done that, go on to the next one and sort of get all your stats that way. And as far as I think the stats apply, right, no matter which devotion you pick. The devotion you pick only matters for like leveling it up. You'll get the stats no matter what. Blow them all off the map with the wind smell. Yeah, if only ring outs were a thing. Honestly, I have to admit, the places do look like something you see in like Soul Calibur or Tekken or something, right? Like, you could totally imagine, like, you know, Keelik and Mitsurugi just, like, having to go on this icy platform here. As you can see, Bloodfang is very much the speedy sort, right? They got the dual-wielding pistols. Their boost ability lets them do, like, a 360 flurry of bullets while increasing their fire rate for a little bit. One downside is that their weapon selection is very limited. I mean, they can only equip light weapons, which means like out of the 21 guns that you can have in this game, this fella can only equip 8 of them. Also, Bloodfang's durability is like paper mache, so definitely the kind of character that you want to try to be nimble. At the very least, you know, don't get hit, right? Kind of the long and short of it, don't get hit. Oh, wow, okay. Give me a tier 3 gem. I forget which one. It's a Shatter and Pierce. I should probably give this to Argent Lance Hawk. Seriously cannot get over just like how much they sort of, at the very least, nail, as people would like to say it, this is how you remember the games looking, right? Maybe this isn't like actually how they look, but this is like in your mind how you imagined that they were like, right? Like this is what the old PlayStation games look like in your head, you know? I think they kind of get that feel down pretty well. I guess one thing I also didn't mention is that, like any good horde survival, you do have a limited ability to reroll. The way they do rerolls in this game is interesting, though. So you have this resource that's called reroll stones that you use to reroll. The thing about it is that that's a thing that persists between runs. Right, so you'll pick up like reroll stones, and you know, And if you don't use them, you'll be able to use them in your next run. It's like on the flip side, you might have to go farm for reroll stones, right? Or at the very least, you're gonna have to like go a few runs without using them if you want to, stockpile them again. Although I know they tried to alleviate that a little bit in an update, where there's like this one other achievement for equipping different things in different runs, and as you unlock each one, you'll get a free reroll that you can use in a run before you start like dipping into your stash of reroll stones. So that's nice at least. So ads coming soon. Get ready. Honestly, the boost is fun if you can just like slip your way past a group of enemies, right? And then stay close so you can just like unload some more ammunition on them. Spent many hours farming for stuff in games, yeah. Now, I remember doing that in Pokemon especially. Diamond Pearl was where I really kind of went into the weeds of just like getting everything I could and just like training up my team to be the very best like no one ever was. Okay, I think I might actually go with Aegis. Maybe shore up Bloodfang's weaknesses a little bit. If I need to bash my way through a crowd, I'll just like throw up some shields and do so. Yeah, lucky egg for extra experience and everything. Oh yeah, you bet your ass if when I had the opportunity to grab a lucky egg, oh yes, I totally went for that. You know for sure. I think I'll give a Windstone to Duet. Urgent Lance. That one. You know what they say, hindsight is 20/20. Some of the shell protocols you can get in this game are pretty fun. You'll get ones that'll increase your abilities as you land hits, and then you get some that will increase your abilities over time. Some of them are more conditional, others are just like, it'll automatically activate every now and then, you don't gotta worry about it. Would be interesting to see me do a Nuzlocke in Pokemon. Seems to be a popular thing to do amongst VTubers. Ah, here we go. This is the one I was thinking about. Flea adds an additional boost charge. Something like Bloodfang, that could probably be useful. Although I like the way they do it in this game, where each boost kind of has like its own meter and will recharge at its individual rate. Right? It's not like a sort of a two-tiered meter that just like recharges over time. So, right, if you use them both in quick succession, you'll be able to use them both again in a pretty quick amount of time. Right? It's not like double the cooldown for 2 times the charges. I can appreciate that to an extent. I were to do Nuzlocke, though, what would be the best game for me to do that with? I'm thinking maybe I'd do that with, like, Fire Red and Leaf Green. Just because. It's sort of like OG Pokemon. I mean, like, true OG would be like, you know, Red, Blue, but that'd probably be pretty close. Or would I go with, like, Emerald? I feel like Emerald might be fun, too. That one also has Gardevoir. Oh, man. Choices. I'm biased because I love Black and White 2. Nah, don't worry about it. Don't apologize for it. I'm sure everyone's got their favorite, especially for a series as long-running as Pokemon. I have heard some very good things about Black and White. I have not played that, believe it or not. That was actually the generation I passed over. Incidentally, because I probably burned myself out playing a lot of Gen 4. Didn't really pick it back up until XY, which I really liked. And then I skipped out on Sun Moon. Got back in with Sword Shield, and now I kind of played a little bit of Scarlet and Violet. Not too much of it, though. I think it's about time they revealed Gen 10, though, isn't it? Because we got Legend Z to A. I think they've kind of done everything they want with it, so... I feel like if they do like another Pokemon Direct, we'll probably start seeing teasers for whatever Pokemon Gen 10 will be. It would be the perfect time for it, too, because the Switch 2 is out, and we'll probably flock towards that. They heard new Pokemon title for Switch 2. Probably Black and White TV series were top notch. Yeah, like how the Black-White games kind of mixed up the Pokemon formula. I know the Black-White TV series also mixed things up in its own way, right? Like it was like one of the few Pokemon series that made Team Rocket like actually a fearsome threat, right? Like, they actually made them serious for real's actual threats. It's kind of wild to think about. Lifesteal. Yeah, I remember that one being pretty wild, though, because, like, one of Ash's traveling companions for that was one of the 3 brothers from the first gym, right? Because I remember the first gym, like, being led by 3 brothers, right? Whichever one you challenge would depend on your starter. They only had, like, one of the 3 traveling with it. Interesting way of doing this. Hello, Syl. How am I doing? I'm doing pretty well. Had a pretty decent start to the week, and now I'm getting to relax a little bit with some Vital Shell. There's a game I kind of picked up on the whim because I saw someone else streaming it, and it was like looked like a pretty decent horde survival game. So I picked it up and having a blast with it. Well, I had a blast with it. It's still a very good game. I just, you know, I've kind of played it through. It looks fun. Oh yeah, definitely a very good one of those horde survival games. It looks great. The upgrades feel nice and impactful. I kind of dig the PlayStation aesthetic of everything. They've put together a pretty good product here. feels like Sylvan traveling in ash. He's had a lot of companions throughout his travels, hasn't he? Well, if I remember correctly, that was like the thing that they mixed up, right? Because it was you know, the Hoenn and oh nuts, what was the fourth generation's region name? But you know, those two, he traveled with like the female trainer, right? He traveled with May and then he traveled with Dawn. So you think he traveled with Hilda through Unova, but they were like, nope. What if we just like go back to the gym leaders thing? Yeah, remember when he traveled with gym leaders like he did in Kanto and Johto? Oh, you got tomorrow off. Box, very nice. Always gotta love a day off. You know, as long as the circumstances behind it are pretty cool, which I imagine these are. Dawn was top tier. Several people were like fans of May as well. Maybe not as many for Burning Wave. Burning Wave. Is that like someone's special move? Just chillin', Syl. That's good to hear. Anyone but an annoying Bianca. Me personally, it was always like the sibling characters, right? The tag-along sibling that's just there to kind of fill out the little kid quota, and is usually more of a nuisance than anything else. I really should just be like dodging those constantly because I got the 2 bars of boost. If I stagger them enough, I can boost like long enough and sort of keep the uptime on the increased fire rate. Oh yeah, and then later stages you'll eventually face off against like a mini boss, right? So at the very least in area 2 you'll face off against one in the 15th wave, but in later stages you'll face off against more of them, and probably earlier. That being said, they've kind of run out the time limit since it is not the final boss wave, so you can just survive against their attacks, you will pass the wave regardless. That being said, there is some extra special stuff for defeating them, so it's probably your best interest to kind of take them out anyway. Honestly, it kind of feels like a DPS check, right? If you don't have the power needed to take out the mini-boss, you might find yourself in a bit of trouble in the later wave stages, right? It's kind of like an unstable equilibrium, right? If you're good, you're gonna get even better, but if you're already struggling, then it's gonna be harder to kind of climb out of that hole, right? So I already got like the burning thing, right? So maybe I should get conflagration, right? Enemies felled while burning spread the effect to nearby enemies. That's right. Gonna burn it all down. building it up to bring it back down. We're building it up to burn it down. Can't wait to burn it to the ground. Or maybe I should go. This fire is out of control. We're gonna burn this city. Burn this city. This fire is out of control. We're gonna burn it. Burn it. Explosions, yeah. Go for the kaboom. Where's the kaboom? Right here, buddy. It's right here. Yeah, I might just go for the top one to fill this one out. You get for 2 greens and 2 whites. Reloading triggers a piercing physical attack that collects sparks it passes over. You don't have to walk your way over there anymore. You kind of just like point this thing in the direction. It'll probably pick some stuff up. Honestly, in games like these, being able to increase your pickup range or have something that automatically picks stuff up for you, pretty nice. It can be vital, even, as one might say. The roof is on fire. You don't need water. Let the motherfucker burn. Just like full focus on adding stuff to the shotgun. Oh yeah, I guess I did pick that up. A shotgun for the last time. So this guy's got it all, right? Got dual pistols, got a mid-range assault rifle, and a shotgun. Doesn't even need to switch them all out. Just wields them all at once. Every range covered. Switching weapons? Bah, switching weapons is for chumps. Real champs quad wield. Pretty easy to fall into a zen-like state while you're playing this game, right? When you got everything properly kitted out, you kind of just like run around in a circle, blast everything to pieces by just picking up stuff and making the number go up. It does feel like the experience curve gets pretty sharp around level 28. I don't think I've ever reached level 30. Kind of feels like once you hit around 27, you're kind of the amount of experience you need to get even further. Probably means I need like a better build if I wanted to get that far. Not quite there, unfortunately. Yeah, you get in the zone, right? Kind of get in that state where you're able to kind of just like go do your loop, you know, do your loop of your thing and just power yourself up even more that way. Okay, let's see. Oh, hey, sweet, oh, they're purple, so we can get ourselves the effect when we get all purples. Compression. Felled enemies have a chance to leave behind a gravity well, pulling in nearby enemies and dealing force damage. When you consider some of those tier 3 purples can already generate gravity wells, you just get a lot of gravity wells. Also, corrupt Mirage. You like how their gun just kind of looks like a staff? Right, it's a staff that they kind of use as like a bazooka, right? They're shooting at you from the other end, right? The gem-tipped end is not what emits the ordnance. It's the other part of it. Anyways, the mage is felled. Been like that in Forza Trial events. Just switch off and do my thing while thinking of other things. Yeah, you get it. Especially when you've raced through a stage enough times, you know what it's like all like, so. Alright, we're off to the Sylvan Cloister. I just love everything about how this is presented, right? Like the way, you know, you only see like the intricate detailed part of the area, but you can briefly see like beyond it. It's just like all less rendered stuff because, you know, it's not what people are going to be paying attention to. It's great, right? This is the kind of thing that a series like Boundary Break was made for, you know? Yeah, this fella's special ability, when they boost, they leave behind a trail of fire. You always gotta have one of those, right? You always gotta have that one character that leaves behind a trail of fire when they dash. I guess the mage would be a pretty good fit for that ability in this game. Kind of works as a crowd control tool a little bit too. Let's go with this one. I think I'm gonna give it to vtuber. Open world driving games, man. They're so good, just like really sort of just zone out too. I've certainly done that too, where I just like get into a rhythm of just like doing races and stuff and kind of letting my mind wander while I go through a race, right? These days that would be in the crew, right? When I'm playing the crew 2 in Motorfest, that's usually where I kind of just like fall into that sort of zen state. Yeah, you can just take a small car, a slow car in cruise as well, right? Just take it easy, right? It's like that one song, "Slow Ride, Take It Easy." Maybe not the rest of the lyrics, but "Slow Ride, take it easy for sure." Kind of forgot this weapon exploded. It switches between elements too, so it's a mage weapon in several ways. Even better if it's a convertible. Yeah, you can truly just imagine yourself doing that scenic drive, right? Just pick yourself a scenic road and go nuts. Oh my god. I cannot wait for Forza Horizon 6. I imagine 6 will probably be perfect for that, right? They're totally gonna have a coastal road, right? They always have to have like some kind of beach or some sort of ocean side, so that would be the perfect opportunity to do your little convertible drive right there. Aw, yeah. Go static field. special does. What do you think it does? It makes electro barrier. It's basically like the elemental version of the Aegis, right? And ram it into enemies to deal damage to them. I don't think it increases your defense though. It just lets you kind of deal damage to enemies. Man, the map looks amazing. Have they shown the map? Never know, I'm afraid. Retired from competitive Forza. That's fair. I want to give this to the staff. Just really hope Forza Horizon 6 manages to live up to expectations. That honestly would be the worst thing if it comes out and just like falls flat on its face. Especially for one that is a hotly anticipated location. You know what? There was another driving game I kind of sort of had my eye on, but it finally came out and I was like kind of disappointed with the way it turned out. It was this game called Armageddon Rogue Shift, or it was Carmageddon. It was Carmageddon Rogue Shift, and you know, if you remember the old Carmageddon series, it was like a game where you had to kind of like drive around a map and kill zombies and everything, but fortunately Rogue Shift is like a completely different thing entirely, right? It's not open world, sort of kill everything, every last one of them kind of game. It's a bit more of a racing kind of deal, and I saw it got like mostly negative reviews because of it, right? Seemed like the common sentiment was, yeah, as a game, it's like okay, but you know, if you're coming here expecting a resurgence of Carmageddon, you're probably going to be disappointed, which is a bit of a bummer. I guess thank goodness we have GOG. I'm pretty sure they probably have like the Carmageddon games on there. Part of me is thinking it's going to be Horizon 5.5. Maybe I just jaded from 5's awful launch. Yeah. I get that. I get that. One thing they did say about 6, though, is that the story for that is that they're kind of ditching the whole superstar thing, and you're going to be like a tourist who decides to sign up for like the Horizon Festival tournament. So once again, they're kind of going with you're a newbie into the scene, like they did with like 1 and 4. So we'll see how that goes. Only playing it for chilling and driving the beautiful cars. That's kind of like what I fell into for 5, right? Like, do the races, try to knock them out, but definitely a lot of moments where I kind of just like just drove through the scenery. At least what there was of it. Carmageddon was hella fun. Running over zombies, yeah. Also Eliminator. I think the large map of Mexico really didn't do Eliminator any favors. Eliminator definitely felt a lot better in the UK because, you know, the map was just more suited for it by virtue of it being smaller. It was like in Mexico, you know, you barely ran across anyone unless they were like hunting you down specifically. Let's just make this the elemental trifecta. So yeah, you can see wave 10. We're already facing off against a mini boss, and this will be like this for like the stages in the rest of the game as well. You'll have one boss at 10, another at 15, and then the final boss at 20. I should say the stage boss. Final boss is on the final stage. Although I've seen people use final boss to talk about like the stage boss as well. They're obviously like, you know, the boss that you defeat before the credits roll is always called like the final boss. I've also seen people refer to the stage boss as like a final boss. In the sense of the final boss of the stage, I get it. I know what they mean anyway, so it all works. Eliminator in Winter and 4 across the frozen lake. Ooh, I bet that is fun. You also like how on the bottom left they have the bars to kind of like just give you a general idea of how much ammo each weapon has, and like how long it'll take for them to reload. There's sort of extra information that you probably don't need to pay attention to, but it's nice that they have it on there anyway. It honestly feels like the kind of UI thing they would probably throw on to like a game of this era. You know, use that screen real estate as you see fit, right? Ooh! Ourselves exploding gem. Yeah, I'll grab this one for the Fate Reaper. Just no bosses like Butthead Gill in Street Fighter. Yeah, it always sucks when it feels like there's that one final boss that just gives you your hardest time, right? He's like right there at the end of the game, but you're just like completely roadblocked by this guy who just can annihilate you from 10 paces, and that can get annoying. I had that with a game once. I forget the title, but I remember that game kept track of your deaths, and I remember in like every other stage combined, my deaths was 20. And in that stage alone, I died like 70 times. Give you an idea of how absolutely nuts that boss was. I need to look up that game's name. I'm trying to remember what it is, but it was like some kind of weird voxel 360 twin stick shooter kind of game, where you were able to like fly around and shoot weapons and blow up the environment to an extent. That's as much as I remember anyway. Getting them stacking buff probably would have been useful earlier. I think I will accumulate potency while stationary. Resets each wave, so let's do that. I'm going to turn into a turret. See that build up. Well, my power level is at a point where I can at least hold my own. Until these guys start shooting things, I don't need to move. Let's let that potency build up. Oh, okay, maybe I should start moving. Find a little place to rest so I can get that build up even more. I think dashing counts as moving. Probably not surprising, but... So yeah, under normal circumstances, the damage usually increases to such a degree where you can't really kind of tank your way through groups of enemies like you can in the early waves, because they'll deal enough damage that if you're not careful, you'll find your health just evaporating. Just like I did right there. Alright, I'm gonna give this to Soul River. Get that lifesteal. Got screwed over by bad camera work on the Ed Viper in Sonic Adventure 1. Fell off the platform. Damn camera. Yeah, camera screw was a kind of a problem back in the day. One day, we're still trying to figure out how to do camera controls. I remember in like the really, really early days of 3D games, the camera would be controlled by like the triggers, right? Either triggers or like the C buttons on the N64 controller, or you know, some other weird arrangement until they finally settled on like the right analog stick, because every controller was starting to have them. Yeah, because like back in the day, every controller was not guaranteed to have a second analog stick. I think you can go pick up all the extra XP. I've certainly had my share of camera screws as well. And a lot of them did come from Sonic Adventure. I guess that's like the trouble of trying to translate a high-speed game to 3D. Sometimes the camera doesn't quite work the way you want it to. Well, now it's Berserker. You like how its head just grows really, really huge when it's about to charge at you. And it shoots like a zillion bullets. It's like the easiest tell in the world to know it's like coming after you. Right, and you just get like far the heck away, and then it can't do much to you. But you definitely don't want to get up close to it. This game either doesn't have Mercy Invincibility, or its Mercy Invincibility is very short. So yes, there are definitely cases where if you're not careful, you can find yourself from like full health to game over very, very quickly. Good luck with the 3DO controller. That was like a remote control. I think I remember seeing my brother have one of those. Yeah. Kind of crazy to think about that used to be the norm, or at least for that console, that used to be the norm. Is that the static camera? I hate that with my life. Yeah, it sucks when the camera's real bad. It feels like you could just like do so much better, but the camera just like fights with you every step of the way. Thankfully, most games these days seem to do the right analog stick for camera controls, which works remarkably well. Yeah, when the camera hits the scenery too, that's when it gets real tricky. Although I don't know if that's like better or worse than a camera that goes through scenery and then kind of gets your view blocked because the scenery's like in front of it. I honestly don't know which one's worse. I mean, they both suck, right? Both suck in their own way. Oh, speaking of boxes, I don't remember Time to Crate. Sort of like a jokey sort of stat that people use, like when you start a game. How long is it until you encounter a crate? Right, so, sort of like the quintessential video game element, right? Either as scenery or as something that might hold an item for you, or as an object that you'll have to interact with in some other way, right? Good thing I picked up some lifesteal gems. Goes attack speed. Let's complete the top one. Can we do green and purple yet? Belled enemies have a chance to leave behind a corrupt growth, dealing physical damage and collecting nearby sparks. No, I don't think we did. How appropriate for the mage staff that we get something that would generate foliage. Right? Evil plants that collect souls. What is it with works in sinister plants? I think it mostly has to do with, like, most plants we know in real life tends to be, like, pretty passive, pretty still, right? Even if they do grow, it's, like, a very, very slow rate. So seeing a plant just, like, suddenly spring to life and just, like, move really quickly certainly throw you off your game a little bit. It makes for a very good supernatural thing. Range. And actually go with crit strike. In Lara's case, super strength pulling and pushing those huge stone blocks to stand on. Proportions back then were kind of funny too, right? Just imagine them pushing and pulling blocks like the size of them. You know, they did it because of block puzzles, right? It's a video game, you gotta have block puzzles in there. Alright, I should probably start moving. I'm gonna stop for a bit. Oh. And again. Again. I just realized we're on wave 19. We're about to face off against this area's boss. I think we did white and blue. Oh, no, we didn't. Fulguration. Critical strikes release burning rays of light. Sort of different kind of god ray. Look at this. It's corrupt Sidewinder. And yes, their whole shtick is that they have pets, right? Because they're the ranger class. At least for the boss battle, that translates them into, like, after certain thresholds, they'll have little minions come out. Holy crap, I vaporized that fella. Completely annihilated them. Lord, they didn't stand a chance. Alright, next up we are gonna do Sidewinder. Yeah, you can see on the side here, too. You see, like, the additional stats they'll have and what they get for leveling up, so you'll know what you can focus on and maybe what you should probably pick up as, like, a level up bonus, so that's nice, too. Let's go to Area 4, the Molten Core. So this guy's pretty interesting as well. Should be used to create some boxes after all. The white box is a lion blueprint, so yeah. I did that parlor puzzle so many times. This is an elemental guy as well. Yeah, I think the description for this guy is that this is a very lightweight robot, so any extra weapons they pick up will actually be carried by their pets instead. And the pets are, like, kind of autonomous. They'll automatically seek out enemies to shoot. And the boost button will actually bring them back to you, and they'll deal damage to whatever enemies they run through, so that's pretty interesting. going back to blueprints, did you know that there's an achievement for solving the parlor puzzle enough times? Right, it was pretty wild to see when I solved the parlor puzzle, and I see this trophy just like grow out of it. I'm like, whoa, wait, what? What's going on here? Right, and then I picked it up and I was like, ah, okay. It's a trophy for succeeding at the parlor puzzle enough times, so I managed to succeed at that, so hooray! I have to assume in that case there's probably a trophy for completing the billiards puzzle enough time, or the dartboard puzzle enough times as well. It's just that I don't run into the dartboard puzzle as often as I do other one. Let's do incinerate, I guess. Nice, thanks. As far as my blueprints excursions go, I have unlocked some new features. Picked up a handful more upgrade discs, unlocked a few more rooms. I feel like I'm actually making some progress. It's nice, although I feel like a lot of those puzzles seem to fall under a rhythm of, you know, just look around all the rooms, try to decipher a message from them that will tell you what you need to do, and then line up some other rooms so you can do the thing they want you to do, and that will hopefully either unlock a feature or unlock a new puzzle for you to kind of dive into. Is there one for digging so many times? I don't think so. They do have like a complete trophy list, and I don't think there is a trophy for digging a certain number of times. Would be pretty funny though. It's like awarded for digging 500 times. Although that would kind of just like boil down to do an action X number of times kind of achievement. And I think only the parlor and billiards puzzle kind of fell under that. But even then, you know, you still have to solve a puzzle for it, so. Please make a short for when I do the vacuum tube puzzle. Still haunts me. Maybe if I figure it out. Maybe. Honestly, now that I'm kind of like clipping everything in near real time, I've got like a pretty good selection of things to pick from. I've managed to kind of settle into a pretty nice rhythm of just like clipping things from Twitch streams after the fact. Which is why I'm able to do like the periodic just plain video post every few days as well. It's frost trap, the other is discharge. Get this to Annihilator. Give it a greater chance for Frost Trap. It's basically a mine. It's an ice mine. They run over it, it goes kablooey. AoE damage. Yeah, exactly, like jumping off a cliff for science, right? You know, just like a little extra moment. You know, it's like what the shows do sometimes, where they'll do like an overtime where they'll have like a short video that they put on their YouTube channel. I know Daily Show and Late Show with Stephen Colbert like to do that, where they'll maybe throw up a video where Colbert or one of the Daily Show members talks with the audience. Right, like one of them will ask them a question and they'll answer it, and they'll just like put it up. You know, sometimes they'll do like behind the scenes stuff too. That can be fun. This is already doing ignition. Might as well do conflagration. Fire spread. Wild though. I was looking through the clips page just to see how many clips I have. I think it's like up to 1,000 now. I got like 1,000 clips of my stuff. Even long after Twitch sends the VODs to the Shadow Realm, we'll still at least have bits and pieces of my moments on Twitch. Of course, if you want the full experience, you can always go to my YouTube VODs channel for that. I got all my VODs there. The Azure Highlight Sizzle Reel. I've been contemplating doing one of those for blueprints. Or you know, just like something like a quick summary video, right? Like how it started with blueprints, just me like crashing out over every puzzle. How it ended with blueprints, just me getting like super excited to reach 46. Another interesting thing about this game is that every time you level up, you get all your HP back. So time that well could kind of tank your way through crowds that way. You have your games saved on YouTube. Nice. Some of the older ones are so good. Glad you think so. I said it before, but it's just nice, you know. It's nice to have a record. I mean, it helps in a variety of ways, but on the personal level, I kind of like it like that too, right? Just nice to have a little archive out there, right? Just a record of what I did. As long as YouTube remains up, so will that channel. You know, provided they don't take it down for whatever reason. I won't have much reason to. Oh. The meat hose. Yeah, you remember that? I remember that. The meat hose. Yeah, it's like Cook Serve Delicious 3, right? It's like one of the foods was like kind of prepared that way, right? Like meat from a hose or something like that, right? It's also a record of my character arc. That is true, right? We've gone through 4 arcs, right? We had the PNG arc, we had the Vroid arc, we had the Chibi Pixel arc, and now we have the Live 2D arc. Get this. Get the fire rate boost. You know, I don't know why, but for some reason, this area specifically reminds me of Elden Ring. I think there was like one area of Elden Ring that was kind of like a lava-filled area, and you had Sort of like the white stone walls and pillars kind of jutting up and sort of look unnatural that way, as you might expect. Random question, what happened to the sidewalks tag you used to have on the streams? I guess I swapped it out. I mean, it was a fun one, right? I enjoyed it, but I don't know. I guess I just wanted to fit in other tags, right? Ooh. Always gotta go with gravity wells. Any opportunity for AoE. I still like them though. As far as like a hair feature goes, it's up there. One of my favorites. Yeah. Twitch only lets you have 10 tags at once on your stream. That's why some of them might have gotten rotated out. I kind of get it to an extent, but it also can be a bummer too if you got like more than 10 you can think of to fit on there. Right, it always feels like you could just use like a few more, you know, like if they had like a 15 tag limit, maybe I could, you know, fit in everything I want with that. But I know if they do that, then people would start wanting like say a 20 tag limit. Right, after a certain point, that kind of, you know, grows out of control that way too, so. But yeah, imagine you allow too many tags, and you'll definitely get like those streamers whose bottom section will be like 5 lines of tags or something like that, right? I already see that with hashtags, right? It's like, you know, Twitter, Blue Sky has a character limit, so that limits the number of hashtags you can have on there. But you go to, say, like Facebook, which either has no character limit or has a much higher character limit, and the people there will absolutely flood their post with hashtags. Every possible hashtag they can think of, and then some. Right? It can easily, like, stretch up to, like, 4 to 5 lines worth of hashtags. I'm just like, hurrah. Sure, you could be, like, a little bit more concise with picking those out, you know? Like, even if you keep a few of them in as a comedy option, surely you don't need all of them. You know what's even funnier? If it's like the post itself is like very short, like it's like 2 words or something, and they have like 70,000 hashtags following it. It's like, why, yes, I like having text with my hashtags. Got a different hairdo today. The Omega Red style with the loose ponytail and the rest loose. Ooh, nice. You know, ponytails have kind of grown on me as well. Kind of like a ponytail hairstyle. I don't know. I think it just kind of fits a more action-oriented character and still lets them have long hair, you know? Long hair to an extent. And then part of me also kind of likes the side ponytail, right? Instead of having like a ponytail from the back, instead they have like a ponytail that kind of tie up from the side. Like, find that interesting as well. Oh, here's our mini boss for this one, the Vile Carapace. It's a scorpion tank. It's basically a scorpion tank. I feel like that's like a combination of things you see a lot. Scorpions and tanks. I guess like the design of a Scorpion already lends itself well to a tank, so that's why you see like Scorpion tanks a lot. It just works, you know? Oh yeah, and you got the back stinger too, which you can use for whatever you want it to. Usually it's just like a laser cannon, right? Because tanks are known for having large cannons, and this one just has a cannon on the tail, or as a tail. 3/4 of the way through. I guess we'll go with this one. You just get like tons of like cannon shots. Just have them seriously pop off. It's like pew, 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 pew. I also gotta remember to let off the right analog stick so this guy can auto aim. Maybe I can just like pull the trigger, right? Doesn't matter where it goes, it'll probably hit something. A big version of the Sand Squirt from Sandopolis. Yeah, there you go. You know, that was like one of the fun things about instruction manuals. When they have like a section on the enemies, so you could see like who all you'll be facing off against. You know, they would give them the names and maybe a short description and like what they were capable of, you know. That was a fun time. Let's see where ads. Just started a wave. These little green gems that are just popping out. It's again just a testament to just like how much these guys have kind of nailed that sort of PlayStation look and feel to everything. Right, this totally looks like the kind of thing you would see in a PlayStation game, right? Although when I think about it, doesn't that like look like one of those candies, I think they're called, right? The little hard candies that you sometimes see in like anime. Worst ever slicer from Metropolis Zone. Those in the exploding starfish. Ah, I remember Metropolis Zone. You know what was the worst part of that zone? There was that one area where you had to go up like a pillar or something, right? It was like a really long climb, and then they put like one of those slicers on top that would knock you all the way back down. And of course, Kid Me had like the worst time trying to figure out how to get past that. And I would die like a zillion times trying to get past it. And yeah, you know, I was sure it was fun, kind of. The large bolts. Yeah, I think it was like the ones you had to run on, right, to make them go up and down. Yeah, and then they had the slicer on the top that would like knock you all the way back down to the bottom. And of course, your ability to dodge would be limited because your movement would be restricted because you're on the large bolt to make the nut rise. Not like that, you perv. Fulguration. We have the penultimate wave. So many crush hazards on that level. Oh yeah. Always a danger with a Sonic game. You gotta watch out for the things that will just totally smash you and instantly kill you without any sort of recourse. Remember the smashers from Marble Garden? Those always gave me hesitation as a kid, right? I was like, oh my god, it's an insta-kill trap. Gotta be like extra careful around it. And we'll get the spread for this one. Now we face off against the final corrupt Mecha. Corrupt Meteor. We must fear the Reaper. I mean, free the Reaper. We don't fear the Reaper, right? Don't fear the Reaper. And all that. Oh! That thing is shooting a machine gun at us. Oh boy. That could have turned bad real quick. But it's okay. We defeated it. All the same. And that part with two together, oh yeah. When you gotta like run further, right? You can't just like slip past one. You gotta time. The timing's even more tight. I get that. All right. We have the final area, the Observatory. And of course, it's the final level. We gotta be in space, right? It's a platform in space. Space. We're in space. Space. Yeah, this guy's ability is make a giant gravity well upon colliding with something. You can kind of use it as an offensive maneuver. I think this guy's base weapon is a force weapon, so usually a good idea, just like pick lots of force weapons for this guy. Yeah, this game has 3 damage types, right? Elemental, physical, and force. And everything kind of revolves on that, right? You got like damage bonuses for each of the 3 types. Certain abilities will care about the kind of damage you have. The specials will also be one of 3 types. I feel like as most games with like multiple types, you usually want to go for like a monotype type build, right? You want to kind of either focus on physical, elemental, or force. That's how you kind of like maximize the damage you have. You got to spread out your boosts, then you're just gonna be weaker naturally. Funny thing is, I already have everything unlocked, but yeah, this game does have a fair number of unlocks, right? Like you'll have to do like certain accomplishments in the game to be able to unlock new weapons and shell protocols and specials and everything, right? And some of them do require you to have a weapon of each damage type and win a run with it. So so you'll need to have a variety at least once if you want to get everything. Like how much potency is needed to make that swarm even swarmier. Collect some of these sparks. Since early on, I can probably tank a few hits. Honestly, I don't think I picked a great weapon for the second weapon. I need something like with a little bit more constant fire. Something with a lot of cooldown really makes me a sitting duck for a large amount of time, and you know, sometimes time is not like one of those things you have, especially in the later waves when a lot of things bearing down on you and you probably only get like a moment to rest. This is where one part where hiding in the corner might not be too bad. Less directions to approach it from. You can kind of cover your ass a bit more easily. As far as I can tell, there's like no enemy that hangs off beyond the edge of the arena, right? Everything you face off against will be inside the arena, so you don't ever have to worry about like a flying enemy just like bamboozling you from the outside, right? I'll actually go with that. I think we're gonna do like the spread effect for the scythe. Because the thing's already got like piercing waves. Can you imagine how this would be if it could like spread out? That'd be pretty wild. I feel like I'm having a rough go at this, and we're only at wave 7. Okay, we're getting another weapon in 2 waves. I just gotta survive 2 waves, and I can pick another gun. Perfect weapon for a zombie breakout, a scythe, or like a wave emitter kind of weapon. Anything that like hits multiple enemies is usually a plus, right? Especially in games like these where the difficulty usually comes from just like piling so many more enemies and projectiles on screen. Go with that one. Potential to increase critical strike. Mind if I do. Okay, don't shoot me. It's okay, I can take a few hits. It seems like I can only get my potency up to 30% before they really start becoming a bit much. Nice thing about swarm missiles is that they'll always fly at something, right? Even if the original target is destroyed, they'll try to seek something else out. They're only limited by the amount of time they're airborne. But if you fire it into a dense enough crowd, you usually have every single one of those missiles hit something. I think I'll actually give that to World Eater. These guys are swarming too fast. Aim into the crowd. Aim into the crowd. This is the part where having manual aim can be handy. Get like a piercing weapon like this, you can just like send it into the thickest part of the crowd and really mow them down like that. I like the little laser sight. That always amuses me, when you see like a giant robot with a laser sight. I mean, I know it's like a player convenience, but just funny to think about. You just like go out on the field and you see a giant laser appear on the field. And not the harmful kind of laser too, right? This is the laser that helps them aim. Not getting another final answer. Surely I got like another force weapon I can pick up here. Is there? Yeah, Fell Burst. We'll go with that. The chariot! We must outrun this chariot. Make sure it doesn't run us over. In the DPS race, we will emerge victorious. Oh yeah, I can shoot my rockets at it. I should probably do that. Oh my god. It has so little health. There we go. Woo! That would have been embarrassing. I was somehow unable to defeat it, or worse yet, I die on this wave with it being so close to being finished. Get more potency and we should do at least like one lifesteal. There we go. Oh god, these guys shoot homing missiles too. At least they're red so we can see where they're coming from. Although it might be a little hard to, depending on like how chaotic the screen gets. I think that language is at least consistent. If you see red, you probably want to be staying out of it. Right? Whether it's like red AoE indicators on the ground, or the red bullets, or the red missiles. Right. At least signposted that pretty well. Right, and if you see like gray or blue, those are probably your enemies, and you can go ahead and shoot at those. Times like these that make me miss my piercing weapon, right? The elemental cannon that just completely blasts through the opposition. Sometimes it's not just about AoE. Sometimes it's just having like a ton of piercing. Sometimes even unlimited piercing, because that means it's potential to take out enemies really skyrockets if you have like a really large crowd of them, right? You can take out so many of them in one go. Might even be able to carve a path through them if you really need to. And so wave 12. Took like the life drain gem. You see how I lost health and I like built it right back up? Especially in a game like this, where if you're not playing as Koeing, that damage comes hard and it comes fast. So you'll probably like going at least some way to quickly recover it when you can. What wave is this? Just about to enter. Oh no, we're about to enter wave 13. Screw it, let's get volatile shell. Just throw caution to the wind, give me a random stacking buff. It'll probably be good most of the time. Hopefully it's not something like physical damage, because that would be nigh on useless. But even that will have its use at least. It's not as useful as, say, speed or attack speed or potency or critical chance. You know, I just realized, even though this game has a critical chance stat, there's not a critical damage stat. Then again, if you usually like make both of those modifiable stats, those are usually the ones people are going to go for, right? The best way to make your damage skyrocket, especially if you get as you get closer and closer to 100%. Who remembers Bounty 1? Right, that was like another horde survival game, but that one specifically has you know, critical chance and critical damage as stats that you can build up, and definitely let your damage skyrocket as you would expect it to. Alright, we got ourselves the spread world here, so good on that end. Look at how much larger that arc is. That being said, I'm not sure if that like decreases the damage or anything, right? I hope not, because I don't think the other effects kind of have drawbacks. That's a new one for you? I think I streamed that like a really long time ago. Yeah, I just gotta shoot out a swarm of missiles and hope they at least decide to go take some targets out. It's like a decent enough crowd of them. Ooh, got a splody stone. I guess we'll give it to the foul burst. I mean, it already explodes, but why not make it explode more? Now we face off against 5 faces. Your memory doesn't go back that far. Nah, that's fair. It was a while ago, after all. Honestly, there are a number of games that have ended up like that, right? Where I just like end up just doing one stream of it. I'm pretty sure there are probably several of them where I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll give this a revisit, and then I never do. That being said, there are some games out there that have gotten revisits. Although, you know which one I almost revisited but decided not to? I was about to do another stream of Ball Pit, right? Like right after the Regal update. But then when I actually like opened up the game post update, it wasn't as much as I thought, right? Because, you know, it was exactly as they advertised, right? You got like 2 new characters, you know, a bunch of extra balls, a handful of passives, but it felt like, you know, it certainly didn't feel like enough to justify a whole ass extra stream. So that's why I swapped that out with Dogpile instead, right? We got to check out Dogpile instead. I'm actually gonna take a revive. But yeah. I think I'll come back to Ball Pit once all of the updates are out, right? Because they have 3 updates planned. They got the first one out so far. I think they got another one coming in like April and then July. So yeah, once all the free Ball Pit updates have been implemented, we will return to that and have a look-see at all the new stuff they added. 4 years this year for me watching. Man, 4 years. That means I've been streaming for almost 4 years. Crazy to think about. Almost doesn't feel like it sometimes, you know? My, how the time flies. You blink and then suddenly it's 4 years later. Wild. Certainly thank you for being here for a lot of it. Your company has been very much appreciated. Okay, that was damage, so throw that to Final answer. It's gone fast. Sure feels like it, doesn't it? Yeah, it's crazy to think about, right? I'll go to my VODs channel sometimes, just kind of take a quick glance at all the playthroughs and videos and everything. It's like, oh my god, it's been so many, right? Feels like a lot, and yet it doesn't feel like all that much. Certainly played through a lot of games on here, took a look at a bunch of stuff. Making some new inroads with some new kinds of content as well, right? A few watch-alongs as well. Hopefully I can perhaps branch out and try even more different types of stuff. Man, you're stuck with me. It's all good, right? I appreciate it. I appreciate having an audience. Okay, this one gives you orbiting things, right? The orbitals. It's another popular power-up type. Since time immemorial itself, right? Just have the rotating options that will either shoot things or hurt things that come close to you. Certainly helps when you got your mind occupied on other things, like literally everything else on screen. Why not have it soak up a few stray enemies here and there, right? Some of those one-offs were really good. Oh yeah. Certainly got to check out a bunch of cool games. Either as just like a full one-time playthrough or just like a one-time look. You know? It's been cool both ways. It is pretty nice though when you get that game that you can kind of get all the way through in one fell swoop. Enough OSTs to sink a ship. Oh yeah. If the game has like a pretty banging soundtrack, the likelihood I'll pick it up jumps quite a bit. It's got like cool catchy music. I'll listen to it, right? I'll listen to it as I play the rest of the game, whatever that may be. Life drain is at a level where I can just like stay in the middle even if I'm getting smacked left and right. I'm recovering that health fast enough to be able to stay in the fight. Okay, that's a purple. Close enough. That was a green purple. Alright, that's a corrupt growth one. So you might think the final boss is going to be like corrupt Koeing, but nope, it's Mirage. Big ol' knot dragon. The pestilent. It's huge. It's a very, it's you know, larger at least compared to the other bosses you usually face off against. Oh yeah, and there is a phase 2. It's now face off against Mirage Celestial Avatar, and they start bringing out the Toho patterns. But you know, it's just a different attack pattern, different things you gotta watch out for. Objective is the same as always, you know, just blast it to pieces before it blasts you to pieces. I think we're gonna do that just handily. Victory! Oh, only rank A. I think this is the first stage that I haven't been able to S rank. Ah well, I got an S rank before, so whatever. I think after the first time you complete that stage, it would normally roll the credits. Do they have that in here? I think so. But yeah, that's the regular 5 stages that you go through, right? But they also have like a handful of other things you can do, right? They have this arcade mode here, where they have like, oh, victory achieved! Yeah, that's right. God slain. Right, if we were playing Elden Ring, that's probably what it would appear. But yeah, they have these extra modes that you can try out as well, right? You have classic mode, at least that's what they call it, but you know, it's a 20 wave fight. Although you alternate between killing enemies and then fighting every boss in the game. And then weekly challenges, something they added post-launch, where you'll go through classic mode, but now your character will be fixed, and also throw in some extra modifiers, like this one. Will increase the damage while you're moving, but the clock stops while you're stationary, and taking damage will inflict a debuff that increases damage taken. So basically, you have fewer hits that you can take, and all weapons have a boosted crit modifier. And then they have Arena, which is kind of like your experimental mode, where you can select everything about your character, right? You can choose the weapons you have, you can choose what gems the weapons will have, you can choose your protocols, you can choose your special, right? And just like see how long you can last with that. But let's at least go through a run on Classic, shall we? I'll do Mirage. Alright, I figure since I'm a mage, I should probably pick the mage mecha, right? Yeah, Classic is a time attack. And you can see the objective is slightly different. Instead of surviving for a fixed amount of time, the enemy waves will now require you to just kill a certain number of enemies. It's like a bit of a double-edged sword, actually, right? Because it also means you can't really just like try to cheese the stage and farm for experience, because you're inevitably gonna kill the required number of enemies that way. Man, these kind of suck. Guess I'll take resistance. Alright, and a gem too. Okay, so let's do critical strikes, actually. Yeah, it alternates between the two, right? Kill enemies wave, where you have to kill a certain number of enemies, and then the boss wave, where you have to defeat the boss. Rinse, repeat, and you will fight every boss in the game too, right? So you'll face off against all the corrupt mechas, face off against the mini bosses, and also face off against the final boss at the very end. Yeah. That does mean that you never fight against like a corrupt Koeing. I guess for some reason or another probably resisted whatever corruption happened at the beginning of the game. I was reading that apparently there's supposed to be an introductory cutscene, but I think there was like some sort of bug and that never showed up. Go for spread. Oh yeah, you can automatically transport between areas as well. Alright, every 4 waves will go to the next zone in the game. You can already see, we're already at wave 5, and the required number of enemies to defeat has jumped considerably. We're all the way up to 140. This is only the 3rd enemy wave. Damage, and we'll go for range. Use a little range, and that, and let's so we can reroll for Omega Cannon. Nuts. Alright, guess we'll do this one. I had to make a mental note to try to get some lifesteal gems. Another notable thing about Classic mode is that the reroll stones, that would normally be like a thing that persists between runs, when you do Classic mode, it has its own pool of reroll stones that you acquire and kind of build up. Eep! I need to head to bed. I'm like, oh, have a good night. All right, have yourself a good night, Molecular Shadow Fox. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good sleep. Let's see, I want to do spreads with Geist rifles, so I guess we'll get a shifting staff damage. Yeah, we're up to 180. Ah, good old gun sounds. No, space gun sounds. Laser gun sounds. Fantasy gun sounds. That's what I mean by that. Power cycle. Oh, it's a mirror match. I think there's an achievement for that. Defeat a corrupt version of a mecha with, you know, your own. As I said before, there's plenty of things to unlock. The thing is, I've already unlocked everything, right? I've leveled up all the devotions to maximum. I've got all the other stuff unlocked, so yeah, that's the part of the game I guess I probably could have shown it off since they had the other save slot, but yeah, just really show off the gameplay, you know. Alright, I have a limited number of specials because it's the one that drains my health for a power boost. I do like the description explicitly points out, yes, you can absolutely take yourself out with this protocol, so please be careful. That's the only thing I wish the buff icons would have, is just like, you know, some way to tell like how long it lasts. That's what I get for trying to take a double dose of the blood glory thing. Oh, look, a health tag up. A little after the when I could have used it. Probably should have just taken one of the other specials. I could. I wonder why that one was 333. Is there a significance to that number? We'll get that. Now for the Berserker. Appropriately, it does send out a barrage of bullets at us, on occasion. See, if you want to farm for experience, this will probably be your best opportunity for them. That being said, this is also a time attack mode, so you probably don't want to take too long on that. And the level curve probably means you're not going to actually glean too much benefit off of it anyway. Fortunately. Soul Reverse thing was burned. I don't need to worry about that too much. Yeah. Attack speed. Oh. I did notice that the fire textures are two-dimensional. And of course all the explosions have the sort of same appearance to them. Right? Just the same explosion.gif that kind of appears for a moment as the enemy blows up. That could have been pretty deadly. Give this one to the staff. Okay, so this purple and red again. Failed enemies have a chance to trigger an explosion. Okay. Does more damage for each enemy caught within, so definitely fire that to a crowd. I just realized sometimes we vaporize the bosses so quickly you're barely able to see what their attack patterns are. Then again, these kinds of bosses, if you're close enough to see their attack patterns, are probably pretty close to destruction as well. Good, the attack speed boost. So this one's down to 222. That's probably because most of the enemies you face off against here are hardier. Seriously, like a life steal. I need a life steal gem. Vital Shell, give me a lifesteal gem and my life is yours! Wait a second. Maybe not all of it, just a little bit, so I can get the sick power boost. But the rest of it will be yours, or mine. Oh, nope, I didn't survive. I did make some poor decisions there. Oh well. But anyways, that's classic mode, right? It kind of continues like that. You keep on facing off against a boss and against enemies until you get to the end, defeat final boss, and then your time gets recorded, which goes onto this leaderboard, which I think resets every week. Yeah, let's check out Arena real quick. They explicitly said this was like more of an experimental mode, right? This is the place you can go if you want to like try out certain builds, right? Like, yeah, you can see here, you know, you can select whichever gem you want, right? Any one you want. It's kind of wild like that, you know? So if maybe you just get like get fed up because, you know, you keep doing run after run, but you never get that one specific gem you need to really make your build pop off. Maybe you can just like make it in here, you know? Do it in here and just really let it pop off here. Protocols, I think. Slightly annoying thing about this one is that for the ones you select, it will kind of remove itself from the menu, so it leads to cases where you're trying to look for one, but you might already have it equipped and you might not realize it. So you like go back and it's like, oh, there it is. Flurry. The strikes, and I want to swap out Shadow Dancer for something. Power Cycle. Special, I think I want Aegis. I think about it. Maybe I want to pop this one out, huh? Thought that was a light stone. Or actually, I want to do lifesteal with this one. Dual life stones. Right, now we can choose the level ups. So this mode specifically only lets you get 25, right? Even if you can do more than that, they're like, nah. We're keeping you at 25. You can pick your enhancements from there. Oh. I think they remembered my previous build. Okay, so now we jump in here. Right. Put you on a special arena, and your goal is to just survive, right? To shoot enemies and see how long you can go. And in lieu of like waves, this one just keeps on going, right? And it'll up the intensity every now and then. You know? And just like drop bosses after certain intervals, and maybe after a certain point, you know, you'll get to the point where you'll have multiple bosses on screen, right? So, you know, be mindful of that as well. Yeah, it's nice, right? You can use it to experiment with builds, or maybe just like get that god build that you've been wanting the whole time. You can finally do it here and just see how far you can get. Pretty nice in its own way. You know what this reminds me of? The arena fights from Ratchet and Clank. As far as like arena fights in any sort of game go, right? The ones that have like the modes where you fight off against like waves of enemies, Ratchet and Clank is my favorite. And that's like 90% because the waves just come at you, right? Once you finish one wave, the next one just comes right out, right? Like maybe you'll get a moment's pause, but like you see those doors open, right? The little enemy pods come in and just like right back into the action, you know? Just non-stop. I think it kind of fits the vibe of an arena really well. Might be just me. We got Corrupt Mirage. Mirage is taking quite a bit to really mow down here. I'm sure the next boss will show itself soon enough. It's Berserker, right? Yep. Big old head-grown dino. A barrage of bullets. Berserker barrage. I think it's still wild that, at least for some of the Marvel games, they bring back like the guy who voiced Wolverine way back in the X-Men animated series. I wonder if that's just like a sort of like a session kind of thing. Right, since they have him back, might as well get him for another game. Maybe part of this contract too. So I I know it's like 90% of the time if you hear Wolverine in the game, it's usually Steve Blum. You know? Or not just a game, but also in like other animated series, right? I'm sure he's voiced Wolverine in a number of other cartoons. Oh wow, this mouse co-op Sidewinder is pretty durable. Well, they used to be durable. Oh, now 5 faces. Yeah, that was all the regular corrupt versions of the bosses. Now we're about to face off against the final boss. These guys are already dealing like a buttload of damage to me. Ah, there we go. 38! I saw that! They even tell you the average DPS. 2,536. Survived 4 minutes. I think that's the longest I survived. Yeah, we can go through the other sections real quick, right? They have the game guide, right? It's like the instruction manual of old. But this basically acts more like a log than an instruction manual, right? You'll get the achievements that you can kind of thumb through here that tells you how to do it and what you'll unlock from it. And you get your stats, which is not the stats you think of. It's more like your parameters and what they'll affect. And you have the weapons, right? All the guns and stuff that you'll find throughout the game. And you'll even get some miscellaneous stats with them. And you have potency effects. Which is, you know, that's what the potency stat does for that particular weapon, whatever it may be. And then the specials. There's only 8 of these. Right, and then you have the gems, which you slot onto the weapons, but yeah, you know, 3 tiers, and the higher tiers will provide additional effects. And you have resonance, which is like, you know, you get a certain gem set, and this is the effect you will get, right? Nice thing about the ones that are like monocolor is that you don't need all 4 of the same color. It's just that it's like majority, so, you know, if you have like 2 blues, a purple, and a red, you will get the liquefaction resonance regardless. I don't think that's like a scaling effect either, so you'll get like the same liquefaction whether you have 2 or 4. So you're always gonna get something if you complete a gem set, which is pretty nice, but yeah. They have one for any combination of 4 colors, and then one for each of like the 2 combinations of colors you can get, and then one for like the monocolor. I do like it's like white, purple, green, blue, red. It's almost like the colors of Magic the Gathering, except instead of black, they have purple. Maybe that's supposed to be black, but they just colored it like purple to be more visible. And then they have shell protocols. These are all the passives you can pick up. There are 24 of them. Wait, no, there's more to it. There's more on the... Oh, okay, the controls, right? This is right like the good old days where they have the giant controller and they show you everything that you can do. And here's the credits, which is just on 2 pages here. Pretty nice. Huge thanks to all the artists, and then you get the list of soundtracks. Huh. That might explain streamer mode, actually. Right, imagine some of those tracks might not be very stream friendly. They also credit the localization folks and where all the assets come from, and all the friends, play testers, and supporters. And a special thanks to Chris Zukowski, whose free resources were a guiding light for marketing. Ooh. And then you have the devotions track over here, right? This is where you would be able to see your progress. You'll be able to select a different devotion and build your way towards that. Oh, I just realized the spirit devotion is shaped like a tree. I think that one's supposed to be a tornado? Or maybe that's a tornado. That kind of looks like a tornado too, though. Curse me in my bad eyesight. And then you have options, and then you have battle, but... yeah, there you go. Like I said, one of the things I like about Vital Shell is that it is a much more focused, a much more controlled experience. Right, you're always going to have yourself a complete build by the end. You can get RNG screwed, but it's never like to the degree where you're not going to, get all your weapons or incomplete gem sets or everything like that. You're going to have that, at least. Now, if you want specific things, that's a different story, but yeah. Also, it's pretty quick, I'd say. When getting through all the achievements took me about like 10 to 12 hours. Imagine for most people it'll probably be faster if they can do it more expediently, but yeah. Not only is it more focused, it's also more compact, so maybe if you're the type of person who kind of wants to complete a game and be like, yeah, that was a good one, ready to move on. This is a pretty good one of those. Also, it's like $6 on Steam, right? I mean, obviously, there's a bunch of other horde survival games out there for around that price, but I'd say this one is a pretty good one of those. You'll definitely get your money's worth and then some. And yeah, there you go. That, I think, has been a look at the Vital Shell. Hope you enjoyed that. Alright, we're gonna quit out, go back to chat, right?